covered in blood, and it's running around the house.
My favorite band of all time.
Yeah, the Power Glove sucked.
You don't have to know the Dewey Decimal System anymore.
Yeah. Watching Faces of Death on VHS.
That was the jam. We typically coordinate our shirts.
We've been together so long and hang out so much that we just dress alike. And it's not on purpose. This just happened. I didn't even know she had a white shirt with her. And I don't, very, very rarely do I wear a white shirt.
Yeah, me too.
I own one, maybe two.
Yeah.
And this is it. So today we're coordinating. So welcome to our Between Us episode of the 80s and 90s.
That's right. Episode 11, we're taking it back.
We're taking it back. So this was prompted because of all the remakes, and the new Masters of the Universe remake actually is what brought this on.
Oh, is it?
Yes, this is what brought this on, because I love and grew up with He-Man, you know, and a couple years ago I rewatched the cartoons and they're fucking awful. Sorry. They're awful. His voice is awful. They're bad. But as a kid, you couldn't pry me away. I think I had the sword. I had like a little chess piece and the sword. I had all the thing, Castle Grayskull.
Yeah.
All these action figures, you know. Beastman was furry. I think it was like a stinky guy, Skunk Man or something. If y'all remember this, let me know, because my memory's Alzheimer's. I am old. Right? But that prompted because that and Running Man, and they do all these old school movies, and they're making remakes of it. Mm-hmm. I just love the old ones, even though some of them are terrible. You know, like Time Cop, we haven't watched yet. You're scared of it.
He keeps threatening to put it on, and no, we haven't dove in to that yet. But no, I totally get it. I grew up loving She-Ra. I had the full costume. Mm-hmm. There is a picture of me in costume at my mom's. So if we have that, I can flash that up here right now.
You took that picture 3 days ago.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, I loved, you know, it was such a great, I think, time to be a kid, to grow up. Like,
do you think, like, saying that from the people who grew up back then, do you think kids will say that now in 20, 30 years?
I'm sure they will.
When they're like, man, the 2026 was the year to grow up. That was the year I was like.
I feel like for the most part, I'm sure there were some not so great times out there to be,
way
a kid.
before all that.
But yeah, I think for the most part, like, you're always going to look back with those rose-colored glasses on childhood things that you just loved. It was very rosy, very happy, very safe.
We are the generation, though, and this is why I think it's a little bit different, as we grew up without internet. So, well, they had kind of internet, but we grew up not really knowing of it.
And then that transition.
And then it happens. Like, like, you know me, like, where we come from, I never touched internet or a computer until I was in, like, my 20s. Mm-hmm. That was, like, the first, you know, I touched one when we were in, like, school. They had one in school I touched. That was it. We had to all share it. They had one computer. We got our Oregon Trail on. Oregon Trail's still the shit. Got our Oregon Trail on, and that was all we did. And then the next person had to use it. You had it for, like, 10 minutes after you finished your schoolwork. That was it. Mm-hmm. I remember this. Yeah, so that was it until my 20s. And then, you know, and then internet and everything changed. So we come from riding bikes, drinking out of the garden hose, and especially me, you know.
Well, I mean, I did as a kid too. I mean, I had a computer in my house when I was younger, but we didn't have, like, internet until I was in maybe high school, when I went off to boarding school, mm-hmm. and the school you had to have an email, and you had access to their library, computers, that kind of stuff. But we didn't have internet at my parents' house until I think maybe like a year or two after that. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I grew up playing King's Quest on the computer with my brother.
Never played it.
Oh God, yeah, we were like all about it. And you get the little hint books with the little, like, it was like, you know, the little red thing that you look through.
Oh, like a decoder?
Yeah,
Decoder?
So like get the hints when you're playing. Oh yeah, we were all about that.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, that was like my technological stuff, like growing up, but.
I didn't play that. I think we got the Nintendo, you know, and we had, remember one Christmas we got the Nintendo when we got it, and it had the power pad. Do you remember the power pad? No. It was like this, you know, the Power Glove sucked. I didn't have the Power Glove, we had the power pad. It was they didn't make it long. It's like a think of a Twister game, mm-hmm. but it's electronic kind of. So they had Olympic games and stuff that you would run and stuff, and it never worked. It was awful. So we had to get rid of that. That thing never worked. But Nintendo, the Mario Brothers, was our start. And that was a lot of people's start. People love Nintendo.
Yeah, we didn't have a Nintendo. My brother bought himself a Nintendo, like, later on in high school. We had an Atari.
Oh yeah, we had Atari.
And it was all about the Atari.
I don't.
Play me some Pong.
I don't remember the Atari. I remember playing Atari, and it was just like that was. I think
Yeah, you had the little stick and the little red button, and
yeah, I don't think that
getting
was
it.
for me.
Yeah.
I played it a little bit, and I was like, yeah, I think my brother played it more than me because he's older, 5-year older brother. So, you know, he was older than me, and I think he was more into that. And I got into Nintendo and the Duck Hunt, and that was where the game started for me. I love video games. Video games today are just ridiculous. But back then, it's just amazing still, you know? So I remember the internet though, the things that really, like when I remember the friend that had the internet, you would go over and look at all the bad stuff you're not supposed to look at. Not even porn. We're not going to porn, but like if you don't, you probably don't remember, but there was a website called rotten.com and there was one called efuck.com. That one still exists, I think. Those are like the awful things in the world they would show you. And that goes back to watching Faces of Death on VHS and the old scary movies on VHS and all that when you'd go to Blockbuster and rent them. And you know, my parents liked scary movies, so I've been watching that stuff, you know, since I was like 8 years old, you know, doing all that. So just that whole experience, I think people missed out of going to Blockbuster and renting the movie. And it was so excited. Friday night was Blockbuster and Pizza Hut.
Yeah, we had a Blockbuster 2 blocks away from my house when I was in high school. And I mean, I walked down there all the time. And it was right across the street from Checkers. So it was like you hit the Blockbuster, you get your videos, you hit the Checkers, and then, you know.
Yeah, we didn't have Checkers.
That was
from.
Oh.
We didn't. We had a Rallies came there. Rallies came when I was in my teens.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It didn't last long. People don't like new shit there. You know, so. But I do remember when you would go to Blockbuster if a new movie came out, like Jurassic Park or something, you would go and there were all these things and they were all sold out.
Yeah,
and
all empty.
Yeah, and then you hear someone drop one off, like, can you check and see if that was this? You'd be like, the guy hated you. Yeah. You know, you have late fees. People just don't know the struggles.
I had the Universal Blockbuster card that somehow my brother got one and he gave me one. So when I was in Georgia for high school, like I could use the Blockbuster up there and like rent videos.
Oh, that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
They had video games after a while too. I remember that, rent video games. That was cool for the video games you would not have to pay $50 for and you beat them in one day. Yeah. You know, so Blockbuster was a shit, and then I think Redbox and Netflix.
I never used Redbox.
I used Redbox a couple times.
Netflix.
To me, that was that crossover. I never had Netflix.
I had the Netflix where they'd mail you the DVDs, but it's like by the time you got your DVD, like I was not in the mood to watch it, and it would just sit.
Yeah, and you would forget to send it back, and it was like I had this one movie for a month and a half, and now I own it. Yeah, I had like 3 movies I owned that I just like. These are garbage. I have these anyway. Speaking of He-Man and Running Man and all these 80s things, how do you feel about all the remakes and stuff that they're doing with the 80s movies and everything?
I mean, it's not just 80s and 90s because they've been remaking movies.
Yeah, they have, but we're going to stick with these because these are the ones that you're attached to. Yeah, for us and in general.
Yeah, and it's like a double-edged sword because on the one hand you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I love this.
I loved this.
Yes.
And then it's like you have these expectations and you hope that like, because a lot of times like movies that were made in the 80s and 90s, like maybe the VFX wasn't up to standards, you know, stuff like that. So you're like, oh my God, this with like the right effects is going to be amazing.
There's computers now.
And then it's like they drop the ball completely with like storytelling or something.
Or they overdo the effects. And it's like a whole different world now.
Yeah, and then they just take a lot of liberties and then so it's like you really have to manage your expectations when it comes to this kind of thing. So like Masters of the Universe, like my fingers are crossed for that, but like for the most part, I don't know. It's kind of like, do you have to redo something that is
that needs to be redone. I'm going to tell you.
Awesome.
The Dolph Lundgren one was awesome when it came out. It's awful. I understand. We do, I think, because this one's recent and this one's getting ready to come out. That's why this is the topic. But yeah, I think it's just fantastic. If you do it right, it could be amazing. But let's just hope, because I don't have a lot of high hopes. But The Running Man. I love the Running Man movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger movies were always good because he's always badass action movies. They are always so 80s, so ridiculous. Yeah. Like he would take out a whole army with his one-arm machine gun thing and all that nice stuff. The Running Man I thought was a great movie concept, awesome. I feel like in the 80s, it's obviously cheesy as hell, right? But now I think if you would have redid it and how I saw it in my head, awesome. I have not seen The Running Man, the new one yet.
Well, the thing about it, because the trailer already off the bat, you know the story's different.
Yeah, you know the story's different.
You know the story is different, the concept is different, and it's like, do I really want to watch something that like isn't going to be in line with the original? That means so much to me. But that's kind of with all remakes.
Yeah, to
where
a
it's
point.
like,
I thought the Total Recall they did was fantastic with Colin Farrell. Love Colin Farrell in general, but I do think the Total Recall was really, really good, and that's my opinion, obviously, but I thought it was a really good movie. They did change a good bit, but they kept it in the same realm a lot and made it more modern. And they didn't really go too crazy with it, you know, so I thought that was a good one. What anything else? See, that's all. I feel like the 80s were filled of a lot of acting heroes and men.
yeah,
What about on the
80s
woman's
were
side?
like definitely about, the
Action,
machismo,
muscle
action,
men, and like all those. So
yeah.
what about like what was big for the females in 80s in movies? Was that like 16 Candles?
Oh my gosh,
stuff?
yeah, we had all the John Hughes. I love 16 Candles,
yeah.
Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink. You know how much I love those, and I love like the Molly Ringwald and James Spader and all those.
Dude, what about Loverboy? We keep talking. That's a hard.
No,
if you ever
Loverboy. Where is it?
It's hard to find on any of the.
I know
apps.
it's like not streaming anywhere.
No.
And it was so fun. I feel like the like 80s were really great for like those summertime rom-com like teenage movies.
I feel like because back in the day,
like Corey's,
Corey
the
Feldman,
License
Corey
to
Haim.
Drive and that kind of stuff.
Lost
like
Boys.
so fun. Like it's such a great area.
Yeah.
Lost Boys, love that.
Yeah, Lost Boys.
So glad they haven't tried to remake that one.
Isn't there like 7 of those? There's like 7 of those.
Well, good luck finding like a new, like they're making a new Lost Boys.
I think there's like 7 of them, and Corey, what's his name, Feldman? Haim, which one is it?
They don't, Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman?
They don't count.
But I think he's still in all of them.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
No, anyway, the original Lost Boys and all the movies,
Yeah.
but like, I was wondering that because they don't remake those rom-coms.
No, because you can't.
They will.
But it's not the same. It's not the same.
Well, that's how I feel about He-Man.
Yeah.
And they're still... But I mean, I'm excited about it. If they came out with new 16 Candles or any of those movies, would you be like, I want to see this?
No, I'd be like, that's not the same movie.
See,
that's not the same movie.
It's not. I mean, it's not. What if it was the same movie, just different actors?
I feel like there's some things that are just. It's just like a time capsule. Like it just wouldn't translate.
I agree. It would not translate.
Like Breakfast Club is not going to translate.
It would be a bunch of people sitting on their phones in the room,
right?
Texting each other,
exactly,
and talking shit.
So that was sort of the beauty behind a lot of that. Is like that there wasn't today's technology involved.
That is, yes.
If you had today's technology involved, there had been no movie.
Yeah, it's also like looking at the old parties, house parties, and old concerts people went to. If you don't remember and you're a younger person, which probably not, but if you are a younger person watching this, go back and look. There were no phones. People were actually watching the bands.
Yeah.
People were talking to each other. People were like interacting and drinking together. Now, if you go to a show, it is a sea of phones.
Yeah,
people
you're just
have
recording
to prove
it so they can watch it
that
later.
They're doing that so they can post it to be like, look how cool my life is, rather than like put the phone down and then just like live in this moment for a second. Take your one quick picture, put the phone down. You don't need your phone up the whole time. You know, like no one cares about it. No one's going to watch your video of the show that you went to. No one cares.
Yeah. On
a cell phone. It's like watching. It's like taking fireworks on the 4th of July. No one wants to see your firework pictures. Like stop it. Like just put the phone down, live in the moment. So, what was one thing? What's something else about the 80s you remember when you were a kid?
Like a little kid.
Yeah, like a little kid. Like anything. Yeah.
I remember things like having neighborhood friends that you run outside and like your little Hot Wheels or your little bike and
did you do
meet up and
like Saturday morning cartoons and stuff? Did you watch which ones were?
Yeah.
Which ones did you watch the most?
Oh God, I remember watching things like Looney Tunes.
Oh, I love Looney.
I love
They're
Looney
still
Tunes. I watched like Gem.
Is that the Rockstar?
Yeah.
The Rockstar
Gem. Yeah, and the Misfits. They were like the bad girls and Gem. It was like
that was your people, wasn't it?
band.
You were there.
Yeah, that was me.
Hoodlum.
I loved, He-Man and She-Ra, watching those. I'm trying to think what else. Those are the ones that like stand out the most to me.
Since you watched all the cartoons, what were your favorite iconic toys? Hey, remember this?
Barbie.
Oh, well, Barbie's still an icon.
Barbie.
Was that your number one?
Yeah, I loved Barbie. I loved, Cabbage Patch Kids. I had 2 Cabbage Patch Kids. Their names were Jackie, and she had red yarn hair and little freckles. And then I had a baby one, and her name was Isabel, and she had blonde, corn silk hair. Well, she was a baby.
Oh, it's like
so Jackie was Jackie was like a little kid one, and then Isabel was like a little baby.
Oh.
So I had those. Like I had I had an ET doll. I remember that. Loved having an ET doll.
We did have one of those.
And he like felt weird. Like he had like weird.
Rubbery?
His material was like
Was
it
his
was
face
like a little.
than his body?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, and he was all
that.
stuffed, but it was like this weird.
Make you feel like an alien?
Yeah, weird material kind of stuff. Let's see, I remember playing with a lot of Legos. My brother, I have a brother who's 3 years older than me, so it was like a lot of Legos, G.I. Joes,
remember Lincoln Logs?
that kind of stuff. Yeah, we had Lincoln Logs. Mm-hmm. We had these giant blocks that I used to hit my brother on the head with.
Yes, that's awesome. I figured you were the aggressor.
I was.
Yeah. Mine was always, brother played Transformers more than me because Transformers were awesome. They were a little too complicated for me at the time. I didn't have patience for that shit, you know. G.I. Joe, my favorite of all time. He-Man was awesome. I had a little, was it My Buddy doll?
Yeah.
You've heard the story, My Buddy doll? My brother would be playing with me and I would have it and he would be boxing with me. Next thing you know, my brother's aggressive. I got a bloody nose. My buddy doll looks like Chucky. It's covered in blood and it's running around the house like. Yeah, so I had that. Remember Garbage Pail Kids?
Yeah, we had garbage.
Those were awesome. We used to love those.
We would ride our bikes up to the like local like mart place, like whatever.
7-Eleven.
It wasn't 7-Eleven because they also rented videos.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
So we'd go in and we would rent videos and get our Garbage Pail Kids and
snacks.
Yeah,
always a snack.
Yeah, and then ride our bikes.
Right. That's so cute. All kids did that back in the day. Your bike was your freedom.
Yeah.
Bike was a freedom, man. So I love that. Speaking of freedom, did you hang out at the mall in the 80s?
Yeah.
I kind of figured you would be a mall rat.
100%. Because you could get dropped off at the mall.
Yes, freedom.
And you had like a couple bucks in your wallet. Like my mom would like give me a couple bucks, like get a snack or
$5 would go a good way
or something. Hell yeah! And I would go and I'd buy like CD or cassette singles.
Yep.
From the music store, or just like walk around, talk to your friends,
see
who else is there.
Flirt with boys.
Oh God.
Yeah, you're a flirter. Are you the arcade? Play the arcade games? No, it's a guy. It must be a boy thing. Yeah. I was never a big mall. I do remember going to get CDs, which was fucking fantastic. That was a little bit older, but I was probably when in the 90s when I was like 12. You know, ride the bike over to the mall. And they would go in there and run around and buy some CDs and go through all the CDs and check stuff. And they were $9.
Yeah.
That was hurting. $9 would hurt for a CD. But now, you know, when you get to the 20s, and the last CD I bought was like $25.
Wow.
You know, yeah.
What CD was that?
I don't know. It was like 15 years ago. So, you know, back in the day when they made CDs.
Yeah.
I know they still do, but no, I was never a big mall, but I kind of figured the malls were so different back then too.
Yeah.
With like, what was it? Like, oh man, what was your, like, we had a store called Martinsburg, West Virginia. The mall had See the Source. And it was like the hippie store. There's always a hippie store. They sold, you know what I mean? They sell, it smells like incense. The guy's high all the time. All the band shirts, weird knives and lighters and stuff and bowls and.
I don't remember having a store like that. I remember one of our malls had a store called Opus. And that was like a really cool clothing store that like I always wanted to go to because like their stuff was very much, I mean, this is the 90s.
Yeah.
And a lot of 90s fashion was influenced by the 70s.
Okay.
So they had like crocheted vests or like really cool like skull caps and like chokers and just stuff that was like a little bit different than you would find at like Burdines. If you guys live in Florida and you remember Burdines. Which was bought by Macy's, so that's why it's not around anymore. But like just stuff you would find in a department store. So it was like a one-off, more like boutique. And my mom and I would go in there and I'd just be like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And I would be so excited if I got like one thing from there
you
for
want
like
everything,
Christmas
but
or
you get
something.
one thing. Yeah, one of those. Always trying to get in something every time we went somewhere. Ooh, so what was your favorite fashion from the 80s and 90s that you used to wear? Number one, fashion.
Oh God.
Your baby doll tees.
I had so many different things.
Little
I
t-shirts.
loved our little t-shirts and I always wore them with baggy jeans.
Did you wear the baggy jeans? Is it, I don't know the fashion that well from this time because I was not that fashionable. I would wear like big pants and I wore some crazy shit, you know, black band t-shirts and all kinds of stuff. But is that like low jeans? remember that they would come down, the low-rise jeans? Was that in the 80s or in 2000s?
Low-rise jeans was more like early 2000s.
Early 2000s? What were the 90s?
So 90s
and 80s?
80s, well, 80s, I was super young. The school I went to had uniform.
Okay.
So like my outside of school outfits were not cute. You know, it was a lot of neon.
All right,
That kind of stuff. But in the 90s, it was like I would steal my brother's jeans, or I would go to thrift stores and get jeans that were a little too big. And they would just sit a little bit lower, but they were kind of baggier all over. And it used to make my mom crazy, because she'd be like, I don't understand why you want to cover up all the time and wear these weird clothes that don't show off your figure. And I'm like, you're welcome. You know, because I was trying to like cover it all up. So yeah, I would do a lot of like thrifting, thrift store finds back in the 90s, slip dresses. Like I was super influenced by like Drew Barrymore in the 90s, you know, when she like plucked her eyebrows, had super thin eyebrows. I draw these on painfully every day because my never go back. I wanted to be just like her. Like she was like my icon back then.
So did you do like the dress and the boots? Is that what?
Oh yeah.
That was the style. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, there's a slip dress, and then there's a slip dress with boots.
Yeah, you do the slip dress with the combat boots.
Yeah.
Like long lace, like robe overlays, and you know, I had my hair cut like short, and I would curl it and do the whole vibe, the whole thing.
You are.
I would wear like, you know, like the Revlon. Oh God, what is that called? Blackberry lipstick. That was the jam. The Revlon Blackberry lipstick, and it was like dark purple lip color, really badly, and I would wear that.
So with all that, what was the stuff that you used to do? And now you're like, oh my God, that was so bad.
All of it.
All of that? I think you would look super cute in any of that right now.
Oh, well, thank you.
You would, especially a slip dress with some combat boots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but what is one thing? You got to give me one that was just like, oh my God. Can't believe I did that.
Oh, overalls.
Really? You do the one thing down, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the overalls.
Like
every time I come across a picture of me in those overalls, because I'm tall.
You are tall, yeah.
So it's not like they fit the best, right? It was like hard to find a pair that actually like fit. So they were like typically like a little on the shorter side, and it was like
that makes the legs come up.
It makes everything's a little shorter. Yeah. So weird. it's like nowadays with a jumpsuit, it's hard to find a good jumpsuit because when you're tall and you're long and things aren't proportionate, then
I don't have that problem.
It's hard to find.
I'm not tall. I'm not long. Feel like a little.
What about you?
Mini fridge.
What's your fashion sense?
Oh, I had in the 80s. I was terrible. I wore like everything was black, obviously. In the 80s, when you're a little bit younger, I was just wearing whatever. Really, you know, when you're a kid, you just wear whatever. But when it gets older, you start picking your own stuff. I want to be, badass all the time. So everything had to be like some jeans and some black, and then band T-shirts. Usually, once I got into that kind of stuff, and just like black stuff. And then we went through like the industrial kind of. Once we got into the 12 to 15 range, we would wear Hot Topic pants, and then I'd wear like black band T-shirts with like pantyhose on my arms and like a choker and like. Looking badass. And I look back and see pictures now and I was like, oh my God. What are you wearing? Like that is not even a thing. But you never know when you're a kid. You got to try everything to figure it out.
Yeah.
You want to try everything on and wear everything at once that you like, and it doesn't work. I always wore combat boots too. That was a big thing. Like ever since I've been really young, I've always liked boots. Like, especially, the bigger ones. Not like the crazy industrial tall heel ones, but just a little taller than normal. And then always a zipper because I'm lazy. On the side, so that was my style. It was awful. All of it was pretty bad. All kinds of earrings, pierce my own nose, stuff like that. Like,
I went through all the piercings.
I had like 14 holes in one ear and all this stuff, and dreads. It was a mess. I feel that a lot of people, especially younger styles, come from music, the music they like, and the people they're influenced by. So, give me some of your 80s, 90s influence of what is what was the phrase? What albums and what bands do you feel emotionally like attached to? Like, they did something to you. They changed the way you viewed things.
My memories of music, like in the 80s, is so different than 90s. Because when you're so much younger. So it was like, I loved New Kids. And that was like 88, 89. That kind of age. When I started to become, I think, more aware of what music was and bands were and like that kind of stuff, and actually being a fan, not just like hearing songs on the radio. And I used to be able to literally, any song that came on the radio, I would know the name of the song and who sang it.
You're pretty good at that stuff.
Every
really
single
good.
song.
You're really good at that.
Yeah, that was like a thing. Every time we were in the car, my mom was like, how do you know this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I just know it.
That memory of worthless information.
Totally storing all kinds of worthless information. But the 90s is definitely when I became more like influenced by music. So my favorite band of all time.
Cure?
The Cure.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, I still remember the very first time I heard The Cure, it was when I saw the video for a Love Song. Never heard them before, didn't know who they were, whatever, and I was like blown away by this video, which is them like singing in like a cavern or something. It's like super random, right? It's like nothing like extraordinary, but that was a big like, oh my gosh, what is this?
Life-changing moment.
So, yeah.
It really is. When you find that band, at the moment, you're not like, you don't really realize how big of a deal that is. But when you find like, you know, I come up being really, really influenced in music. And it was like in the 80s and all, it's like my dad and brother, and Metallica was huge. So Metallica was always around. Metallica was like the biggest band ever, and they still are. Like to me, they're still, I don't listen to a lot of Metallica now. I don't really even know what they play, but I will always respect the shit out of them for what they did for metal and music. So they've always, and I remember time and places when the Black Album came out, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Metallica was that, and then I went into the heavier bands, which is people that, heavier, like Sepultura was a huge band for me when I started playing music. You know, so that was like, went to Metallica's metal, Sepultura's a little heavier, a little more dirty, and then the new metal, Korn, started. And when that happened, everything changed.
Korn changed so much.
That's
though.
well, yeah.
I mean,
a lot
I remember when Korn came
that's
out.
what I'm saying.
And it was like a big deal.
Yeah, with the underground, it was a lot. For what they did, it was a lot big. But then that changed a lot of things. Like for me, that changed, like blew me away. And then we went into Korn, Slipknot, Deftones, all those bands, and that was like, it definitely changed who I was. As definitely me wanting to be a musician and me wanting to change my style. So, like, what bands, though, did you, when you like the Cure, the thing is, like, did that influence who you were, you think, as a person, and your style and how you want other people to perceive who you were now?
Not necessarily. I don't think so. I think, like, I don't know that I ever, maybe the one musician who I was like, that camera died. The one musician where I was like, wanted to like more emulate them and their style was probably Tori Amos. I loved her as well, and she was like, you know, super alternative, didn't care about, you know, anything that anybody thought of her, and she would wear some like really just like simple but like different kind of just the way that she put outfits together and things together, and then she had the red hair and, you know, that kind of stood out, and so that was like a big influence for me. But I don't know, I have such a wide variety of music that I like and that have influenced me. So it's hard to say like, oh, this band influenced this or this music influenced this, like, because I just like so many different types of music. Yeah. So, and I'm a little all over the place when it comes to my style and what I'm into. Like I feel like for the most part, in my head at least, I know my wardrobe doesn't reflect this because I have like 5 things in my closet right now, but I feel like a different person every day. And so like, ideally, I would probably dress like a completely different person every day if I could, because I just have so many things that I love and that I'm influenced by. So,
well, that's awesome. I know what you're saying. I get it. I would, you know, I'm the same kind of way. I feel most comfortable in just all black jeans and a black t-shirt, maybe a hat sometimes to cover this hair up. But that's how I feel.
Yeah, but like on my fun days, like I would want to listen to like Pixies. I know how much you love Pixies. You know, bands like that. You know, I loved Stone Temple Pilots. That was a big thing for me. That was like one of those bands that was like eye-opening for me. What else? Portishead.
Portishead.
When I'm wearing my black leather and I've got my
check out Portishead.
Yeah, Portishead, 9 Inch Nails. I mean, those are the days when I'm like combat boots, leather jacket, like
Moody.
You know what I mean? Like
Moody days.
But then I also was like, I liked Sublime, I liked 311, you know, like those kinds of bands too. So it's like
Depeche Mode.
Yeah. Depeche
Duran
Mode.
Duran.
I loved Depeche Mode, Duran Duran. Saw Duran Duran when I was like 12,
See?
13.
I know the stuff you like. I like those bands, are good.
Yeah.
Do you remember buying albums and going to getting CDs and the whole experience with the music buying? What was your favorite part of that? It's different from now that it is. they used to do?
It's like the hunt. You go in, you see what's new, what is sort of eye-catching, what looks good, or, if your favorite band or singer, like, had a new album out, you were so excited to, like, get your hands on it. And, you pray and you hope that you'll like all the songs and not just the one that you heard on the radio or that you saw on MTV,
Yeah, because most of the CDs I bought were, pricey for me at the time to buy those, and I invested a lot into that one thing, and I would get it and it'd be one, maybe two songs are pretty good. Very rare that, 18 of the songs on there, because there was anywhere from 10 to 20 songs on one CD, and most of them weren't good. Sometimes they all were, you got lucky.
Yeah, a lot of times, like, I would find myself, like, just listening to the ones that I knew over and over again, and then, like, 6 months or a year later, I would listen to the rest of the record and be like, oh my God, this song is awesome, or this song is awesome. Yeah, it's like, I would do that a lot. I didn't do that.
I would go through the whole, obviously, go through every single song, and I would always, usually what would happen if a song I didn't really care for, then I'd listen to it more, and I started liking another song that I didn't hear better, that became my favorite song over time. But it was like those fast ones got old really quick. What about like the inside of CD? Remember that difference?
Oh God, yeah. When you got a book that had lyrics, that was everything.
Awesome. I used to study those. Like I would study if there was a picture of a band playing, I'd be like, what are they using? What are they doing? Who they look like? That was my jam. I'd go and read all the fine print of where they recorded, where they did all I was in it to win it.
And you were so bummed when you opened it up. And
it's just like that one paper.
Or there was one, or you open it up and it was like blank inside.
It would be like the one album thing. You're like, wait, come on.
Yeah.
But that costs money. So I can nowadays being smarter, I know why they did that.
Yeah. But I just remember like being, able to watch MTV and actually see music videos.
Fantastic.
Was like amazing. And that they would actually show like underground bands or like newer up and coming bands. And so you would actually like get to discover things that way. Whereas now like MTV is all, of course, like shows and reality shows.
Once they did Real World and they realized that they invented the reality television. Once they did that and they realized that we make money doing this, and then just all the music things fell off. And then the internet didn't help, because then that whole like internet now, you can just go on and get music videos for free. Now people don't put money in the music videos because they're not really worth it.
Yeah, and you just watch them on YouTube anyway.
Yeah, or you just get free music from downloading. So that part, I feel like, man, the overabundance has really watered down the feeling of it. But if you're in the music industry, though, and really into it, people still love it. It's just quicker changeover. So what is it about this time frame of 80s and 90s why you feel like there are so many remakes and so much nostalgic and so many things about this time frame?
Well, I mean, it happens with every time frame, though. Cool. It's like every 20 years or so, things come back into fashion and style. So like the same thing with like what I was saying earlier with 90s fashion was heavily influenced by the 70s. And so it was only a matter of time that like the 80s and the 90s were going to come back. And so, we've seen that over the last couple decades, like, that influence from those time eras. But for us, obviously, like having lived through it the first time, like I now feel like my mom in the 90s, like going through that with the set, you know what I mean? So it's like, I totally get it, because I'm like, oh my God, I remember that from the first time around. And like now some of it's better and some of it not so much, but it's like, it's fun to see how it can be reinterpreted by younger people today that were like, oh my God, the 90s, this, that, and the other. And it's like, I was there, it was not this chic or this awesome, but there were certain things about it that like are definitely like strong takeaways. But for us, I think it's particularly nostalgic because that was us growing up,
Yeah, and I feel like most people when they're younger, parents do the same thing. This was the best time to be alive. This was when things were harder. I didn't have feet when I walked to school. Like it's always like I was saying, everyone individually feels the same way about their kind of child, unless it was either really traumatic or really, really privileged. Like it's pretty much we all can relate. You know what I mean? Like, granted, you may have liked something I didn't like. You came up a little differently, but that's fine. Once you get older, you realize none of that shit mattered. We were all riding on some sort of bike to visit our friend, to knock on the door to see if they can come out to play.
Yeah.
They're grounded. Oh, my bad. Let me go find another friend. Or a rainy day sucked because on Saturday when it rained, you didn't go do anything. You just laid in the house and played video games, watched TV.
Yeah.
But me, I'd be out in the rain puddles. I love the rain. I still love the rain. So, anything you want to add on the end of this about the 80s and 90s or your childhood or anything?
I think I think for me, my biggest takeaway with, growing up in that time and being able to sort of like straddle that, time of like analog and being disconnected and not having like your cell phone and internet and that kind of stuff to where we are now with everything is just completely digital and you have access to anything 24/7. Like I so appreciate the days when you got to disconnect, that you had when you were home with your family, you were with your family, unless you were like watching maybe a TV show or like had the news on or something. But like no one is texting you and 24/7. No one can get a hold of you whenever they feel like it. Like if you left the house, then maybe you had an answering machine, maybe you didn't. You know what I mean? So it's like that sense of urgency, that sense of like I always have to be like on it or available. Like I really miss that. I appreciate that so much because I feel like nowadays you're so heavily influenced by what's going on outside of yourself and outside of your immediate home and your immediate connections that you lose those immediate connections. You're losing that connection with your family, with yourself, and just really like again, like comparing yourself to other people and this and the other. It's like, and when you don't have access to that 24/7, you don't know any better. Like you're like, this is my stuff. I like my stuff. Like, this is who I am. I like who I am. And now you're like, well, now I see all of this. It's not just like celebrities or whoever was on TV. Now it's like, Joe Schmo next door is showing off like whatever, and you're having to look at it and stuff. And it's just such a. I just really, I think that's what makes me nostalgic the most, is that just sense of being autonomous and knowing who you are and having your own life.
No, I 100% agree. I believe everything all the time is a very bad thing. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at. It's good because you have access to information to learn things very easily now, which we didn't have, because if you wanted to fix a car back in the day, we broke the car 3 times trying to fix it. Now you just can watch a YouTube video and learn the hardest shit.
No, you don't have to you don't have to know the Dewey Decimal System anymore.
Yes,
that was like the one thing that they were like, you have to remember that you got to learn the card catalog.
No, I'll just Google it and the whole thing will come up. I don't even need to go to the library ever again. But no, those are the things, and I just believe that now, like I said, the absorption of just so much stuff at one time. Like you were saying, other people's lives that are only the highlight reel though. And you just see it all the time from people scrolling and watching videos and all this. And it just, no matter, you really have to make a conscious effort nowadays to not get sucked into that, rather than we had to search it out beforehand. And I feel like in a human nature, it is a thing for us to search out other things. I feel like before the 80s and the 50s, they had newspapers and they had news, and they would be like, oh, I want to be like this showgirl on TV and have her life. Everyone kind of has these. I feel like it will never change human nature, but we're in an overabundance of it now. Where and people have been and are starting to believe that a way of life that they feel everyone has is not real. So I just miss the days of people could be people and hang out as kids and just have fun. You would get in fights, you would have fun, you would make fucked up comments to each other, you would run around, you would spray each other with a hose or a water balloon, and you would, not to be I'm like fucking 45 years old and I want to be out there doing that. Like, it sounds fun, but like just being able to be free. Like we will leave the house, and you'll sometimes look at me because I'm crying. I'll still leave the house without anything. I won't have a phone. If I could get away with not having a wallet or keys, since you don't have to.
It's interesting, when I walk into a store though, I don't have anything on me. I have no phone, I have no wallet, I have no keys.
You're welcome. That's a good life. It's a good life. So we have a good life. And it's been a good life. And the 80s were awesome. I'm glad that all the stuff we went through got you here.
Yep.
Right here. And wouldn't change it.
Nope.
Wouldn't change it. So all you kids out there, enjoy it. And all the people that come from the 80s and 90s, we understand.
Yes, we got you.
We got you. So.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in today's video. If there's anything that you feel nostalgic about when it comes to the 80s or 90s or any decade, maybe you're from 70s or 60s, drop us a comment. We want to hear.
Yes. Let us know what you think of the remakes. All the remakes. Does it suck? Do you like it? What didn't you like? What do you like? What remake needs to be done?
Yes.
Because I would like to know that. So thanks for watching.
We'll see you
Until next time. Until we meet again.